Welcome to City Lights. I'm Chris Lansfield, and with me is
Bob Hatton.
and
I'm Sean Bay.
and they are from the Portland Fruit Tree Project. Now, can you please share with the audience what Portland Fruit Tree Project does?
Sure. So our mission is to increase equitable access to healthful food and strengthen communities by empowering neighbors to share in the harvest and care of city-grown food resources. And we do that by organizing groups of volunteers to harvest fruit trees that would otherwise drop fruit on the ground and go to waste.
Very good. And what is your role at Portland Fruit Tree Project?
I'm the communications and office coordinator, and I'm charged with the messaging and making sure that, and connecting with our outreach community members and making sure that our message is consistent and that people understand the value of what we do.
Very good. And earlier you were sharing with me some of the events that you do. Can you tell us about those events and how people get involved?
So this time of year we have our community orchards have monthly work parties. And so this time in February we're doing winter pruning. Tomorrow we have one of our winter pruning work parties at our Fruits of Diversity orchard. We also have our tree care workshop series going on right now with our pollinators workshop this Sunday. So we have programming year-round, and probably the biggest program is our harvesting program between June and November.
And what made you get involved?
Well, I'm a full-time staff member now, but I originally started as an AmeriCorps member and did that for 2 years. And I was just, when I first heard about the Portland Fruit Tree Project, I was really inspired by the mission. It just seemed like such a really common sense solution to a critical need in our community with so many people experiencing food insecurity.
Sean Bay, how did you get involved?
Yeah, like Bob, I was inspired by the mission. And in particular, from a personal note, that growing up, I experienced food insecurity and really believe that food security is a foundational human right, and wanted to get involved. So my first role was as harvest leader in our biggest program, which is the harvesting program. And I've been doing that for 3 seasons. And then the last 2 years, I served as board member in steering the strategic, vision of our mission. And then I've just become a staff member now as a communications coordinator and office coordinator, and get to now do some of the tactical work that come from that strategic mission.
Great. When you guys are out in Portland, where do you guys go? Like, where do you get the fruit from?
Well, we have over 3,000 registered fruit trees now that are all over the city of Portland. So our highest concentration of registered trees are in Northeast Portland and in Southeast Portland, but we also do harvest in Northwest, North Portland, and Southwest Portland. At each of our harvesting events, we reserve half of the volunteer slots for folks that are living on low income, so that by coming out to the harvest and picking that fruit with their own hands, they're able to share that abundance with their family and their friends and their neighbors. We do a handful of large orchard harvests each year, so we will generally we have to set our limits as far as residential harvesting within the boundaries of Portland. We don't have the capacity to harvest outside of there at this point. So, but we'll make an exception to that for a handful of large orchard harvests each year. So if there's so much fruit at an orchard that's otherwise not going to get harvested, and we have the opportunity to bring out a big group of volunteers, harvest it, work with the Oregon Food Bank to get it distributed across the state, then we have been taking advantage of that. And so we've had some harvests in Hood River, in Sherwood, Hillsborough, where there's a large orchard that's not being harvested for whatever reason, or part of it wasn't able to be harvested, where we've been able to get up to 17,000 pounds of fruit in a single day. Then that's been really worthwhile.
Sean Bay, what is your favorite part about being a part of this project? What do you like best?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really love our largest it's really what inspired me is the harvest program. And like Bob said, I mean, one of the challenges for people on low income is this kind of lack of their own agency, being able to get and so this fills that need, because you get to go out and no one knows that you're low income, right? You get to share with in the harvest as a community with everyone. And then you get to, I love how Bob said that, you get to actually pick the fruit with your own hands and take that fruit home and then consume it. And beyond that, you also get a share in getting to help others, because the other half of that fruit goes to a local food bank, and you get to do that even though you are, maybe labeled as low income, but now you also get to contribute. And so my favorite part is actually how we both increase equitable access to the food and strengthen community, because we come together, we do it together, and every one of our programs falls out of that mission.
And very good. What are the names of the other nonprofits that you work with to help expand your mission?
So we do partner with a number of local groups. Northeast Emergency Food Program is one of our longest food distribution partners. Oregon Food Bank, another one that I mentioned. There's the Hereford House Pantry in North Portland, Fish Emergency Services in Southeast. The list goes on. We partner with other groups as well. We do some of our programming with Friends of Trees. Growing Gardens has been a partner and an ally. So there's lots of connections and lots of partnerships.
Our tree owners, they partner with us. Without them, we wouldn't have any trees to harvest, right? And so each one of they register with us, and then they allow us access to their private yards to take their fruit. So I consider them partners as well.
And what is your favorite part about being a part of this group? What do you like best?
Similar to what Shomei was saying, just that empowerment piece that these folks can come out and have that agency, that ability to choose what they're eating and to share that with their family. But the harvesting is really why all the programming happens and what everything comes from. But I really appreciate that Portland Fruit Tree Project has a really holistic approach to it, and that not only are we harvesting the trees, but we're also trying to develop community orchards so that we have that publicly accessible resource for generations to come, that we do tree care workshops so that we can care for these trees so they continue to produce abundant and quality crops of fruit.
What was the name of the gardens near New Columbia that you mentioned?
The Seed Garden is right next to our Fruits of Diversity Community Orchard. And that was started in 2013, and that's in partnership with Village Gardens and Home Forward. And we have the Sabin Community Orchard in Northeast Portland. And that orchard was the first pilot orchard we did with our community orchard program. And it's really exciting that this year we're taking the next step in the community orchard development, with developing the local leadership and handing off more responsibility to the local community, that the volunteer leadership's really stepping up and taking more leadership of those events. And there's the Green Thumb Community Orchard down in Southeast Portland, which is in partnership with Portland Community Gardens. But this year we also hope to start a new community orchard in East Portland in the Park Rose neighborhood. And that will be in partnership with Park Rose United Church of Christ and Snowcap, and we're really excited to kind of get involved more out in East Portland, where there's I think a higher percentage of folks experiencing food insecurity.
When was Portland Fruit Tree Project started? How did it start?
Yeah, I love that story. Our executive director was an AmeriCorps member, and one of her projects, she noticed that she and the co-founder noticed that here's this fruit in people's yards that is going to waste. No one's using it. It's on the ground. And it's a perfect, amazing solution to, or part of the solution to the hunger. I think 12% of Oregonians experience food insecurity. And so out of that became the Portland Fruit Tree Project, where we, this fruit that's abundant can be shared with all of our neighbors. So that's how it started in 2006.
2006, that's
2007.
right.
Yeah.
And then 2008, we became the Portland Fruit Tree Project.
Yeah, I can say from my own experience that it's so much easier to buy unhealthy food when you don't have a lot of money.
Sure.
I mean, it's really easy to eat healthily when you have an abundance of money, but if you don't have any money, or if you have very little money, it's a lot easier to just buy fast food or buy something at a convenience store that's unhealthy,
Right.
and usually sugar,
Yeah. Yeah, and part of our mission is not only to, gain access to healthful food, but also learn how to use it. And so sometimes, like you're saying, an unhealthy option that's packaged is convenient and easy, and maybe there's a fruit that you don't know, like a quince. How do you use that? Or like a persimmon, is that it looks different and we don't know how to use it, and what's the use of having access to healthful food and not being able to eat it? And so out of that comes more of our programs that provide support in that area. So I love that you said that. Yeah, not only is it a price challenge, but also the access also involves being able to actually use it. So that's part of our programming as well.
Yeah, I think there's certainly barriers too to healthy eating as well. I mean, if you're, it's a lot harder to get to one grocery store that I go to. It's always far away and far out. They have better prices, but it's not easy for everybody to get there. What was the bicycle program that you mentioned in Osford? What was that about?
Sure. So the one of our harvest coordination teams, it's a neighborhood-focused harvest coordination model. We're working with the Richmond neighborhood and the adjacent neighborhoods there. And so we have an off-site tool location, tool shed there in Southeast, and leadership developed in that neighborhood where those folks don't have to come up to the office in Northeast. They can head straight to that shed, pick up the tools, and they've decided they want to do all those events bike-powered. And so everything from picking up all the ladders and the picking poles, biking out to the sites, harvesting the fruit, and getting it to the food pantry all happens via bike. So that's been going on for 3 years, and we hope to continue that and expand that this year.
Cool. What is the goal, as your goal to expand beyond? You said you're focusing just on Portland right now, but maybe you partner up. Isn't there one in Salem that you said you partner with?
Yeah,
Sometimes?
there's another nonprofit called Salem Harvest that we helped get their fruit tree harvesting program started, and they're doing great work down there. And there's a group in Vancouver called Urban Abundance that we've also collaborated with and helped them get their fruit tree program started. They do other programming as well. So it's been really great to be able to share kind of the knowledge and the kind of our model as we've developed it over the years to help other groups do similar things, because we don't have the capacity to go travel out beyond Portland and do it ourselves. But there's still a lot more fruit to be harvested in Portland.
Cool.
There's also getting kind of back to what you're talking about. If you're a kid and you're have a choice and just how to spend your money. This year in particular, like our AmeriCorps member, and certainly our focus is on how we can engage more young people so that they see that as a valuable resource, as opposed about a choice over the chips or the Cheetos,
Soda,
or the soda, and it's great to start young with them.
Yeah, if you were going to encourage people to get involved with your group, what would you tell them to do? How would you tell them to get involved?
Yeah, certainly the website at portlandfruit.org has many opportunities that people can get involved. And also, if people are listening to like they live outside of Portland and want to, we don't have capacity to actually do it ourselves, but we have the knowledge and expertise and kind of a track record and model to connect with us and get in touch with us, and we can help you start that. I'd encourage people of color to come out and feel like they're welcomed, and that you too can have fresh fruit, right? or feel a part of a community, and that you're actually contributing to something bigger than yourself. And so, yeah.
And what's your vision for this group for the next few years?
Yeah, I think certainly, like I said, there's a lot more harvesting to do, so we want to continue to organize as many events as we can, and also engage a lot more populations. I think that we want to do a better job of expanding to the further reaches of Portland where we haven't done as much programming. East Portland in particular, we're hoping to have more of a presence out there, especially with the new community orchard. And we definitely would like to engage just more diverse populations in general.